Let's go. Hey, now you know, now you know. Yo, now you know, now you know. Hey, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. Now you know. Yeah, you know. Now you know, now you know. Hey, now you know, now you know.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with our program. We've got a pretty good, meaty conversation that we're gonna have this morning, and so I want to get started and start talking to our panelists here. Let me go ahead and introduce them to you. To my right, we have Ms. Elizabeth Ramirez, the founder of the Lifestyle Biz and co-founder of the Embodied CEO. She also currently serves on the board as chair for the Organization of Women Executives. As a business coach and brand and systems strategist, her mission is to help women weave together the demands of business with the joys of everyday life in a way that is sustainable. She firmly believes that we are all multifaceted beings, capable of so much more than just one passion or pursuit. Her approach is rooted in genuine and honest conversations, which she believes are catalysts for transformation. As a passionate advocate for aligning business with personal fulfillment, Elizabeth continues to inspire individuals to create thriving businesses that not only yield financial success, but also enrich their overall lifestyle. Please help me welcome Ms. Elizabeth Ramirez. Next to her, we have Mr. Michael Saldana. Michael was born in McAllen and raised in Hidalgo. He attended Hidalgo High School before earning his BA in marketing from the University of Texas Pan American, now UTRGV. He then obtained his Juris Doctorate from St. Mary's University School of Law. With 5 years of practice, Michael specializes in commercial litigation and white-collar criminal defense, in case anybody needs that. His dedication towards preparation and providing coherent analysis in court has been a cornerstone of his practice. Michael is passionate about the conversations surrounding the implementation of artificial intelligence in business, while also navigating the ethics and potential legalities of using it. Please help me welcome Michael.
Oh, Mike, thank you.
And the gentleman sitting next to him, in case you can tell, is his brother, Mr. Mauricio Saldana.
Hello.
Mauricio is a graduate of UTRGV with a master's in business administration, specializing in marketing. Currently, he is an agent with Fox Real Estate Pros and the director of marketing and sales at You Are Home Texas, LLC. In this role, he leads the marketing and sales strategies for the company across the state of Texas, focusing on generating high-quality leads and promoting their diverse home collections. His responsibilities include overseeing the launch of new communities, managing advertising campaigns, and ensuring that clients receive top-notch service throughout their home buying journey. As a marketing specialist, Mauricio is continuously and constantly looking for new ways to enhance the overall approach for clients, while simultaneously allowing for a seamless performance for his team. Please help me welcome Mauricio.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with some of the questions.
Is it on?
The first one is going to be for you, Elizabeth. Can you provide examples of how AI has improved productivity in your organization and those of your clients?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. Yes, okay, so I'm a business coach, as you mentioned, and AI, we use it every single day in my business and for my clients. One of the things that I've noticed is that all of the applications and softwares that we use now have like an AI companion or some sort of AI integration, and so that's first and foremost, like double check what are the apps and tools that you're using, and do they have something like that integrated to where they can, help you work faster and not harder,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tools out there. I do have a couple. There's a cheat sheet on your tables that'll have a long list of the different tools that we use. But it all is either CRMs will have it, there'll be customer experience that will have AI tools, and there'll be sales. I mean, there's so many out there. One of my favorite things right now that we're using is Fathom.ai. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it basically helps you take notes while you are on a meeting, in a Zoom call, or any kind of meeting. I love it because it summarizes your meeting, and then you can customize the summary. So if you're in a sales department, you can have it create a summary with a sales focus.
Yeah.
So, and it has action items as well, and it's just great. It saves so much time, so you don't have to, how long does it take you to send out an email? Okay, let's summarize what we talked about. This does it for you.
That's right.
In 5 seconds, you're done for that.
I love that. I love that.
Do I get one of those? Is it working? Testing? Yes. Do I get one of those cheat sheets also, or no?
Yeah,
Is that on there? Can I have it?
Mauricio, are there any industry-specific AI applications that have been particularly beneficial for your organization in construction?
Yes, definitely. Okay, so first off, I'm going to add a little bit more to my background, guys. Our goal here, or my goal here at UR Home Texas, I hold basically two positions, marketing and sales, right? Normally, you'll have two departments for that, right? They are two different things. Now, my goal is to always make sure that whatever on the marketing side, I'm able to communicate that on the sales side. So if there's certain strategies and things like that of the sort, and granted, there's so many different theories out there, it's never ending. I have to make sure that what I have out there advertised, from ads to certain content, that the communication is clear for basically my sales, right? I do have a team. It's not just me solely on my own, but I need to assure their success. So with that being said, specific applications that I can bring up is, one, I have to make sure that I'm readily available for the team, internal, not just for sales, but even on the operations side of things. How do I do that? Well, before AI came about, I thought I could handle it all on my own, right? I'll be honest, I used to stay up maybe past the middle of the night, start maybe at about 5 a.m. every single day and ended around 2 a.m. And I thought I could take it. I was like, hey, you know what, it's all grit. Let me just keep pushing. But no, AI wasn't always available. And so when everybody got wind of ChatGPT, even at its most standard self, because I know there's like 4.0 and all this of the sort now, but even at its most standard self, the free version, it was just a game changer, right? So to get more into it, a certain application I can already think of is, once I started feeling overwhelmed, I said, you know what, when you talked about productivity, how can I make this more feasible for myself? There's certain calendar AI applications out there. One of them is Motion. I use that one heavily. It's integrated with all of my emails. So if I get any meetings that come in or any certain requests, they can be automatically added as an actual event or a task. And as we know, well, in real estate, I'll use my industry as an example. And I'm sure it works like that for everybody else. But there's things that are constantly changing, and instead of me spending that time where, shoot, let me double check if I've got some space for a last minute 2 p.m. meeting today, I'll just look at my calendar. Something came up, somebody booked something, I got requested for certain documents. I'll look at my tasks, my calendars, and I'm able to attend to that in a very timely manner. And then, of course, when it comes to of course, everybody should know Canva by now. Content creation, that's a huge plus. When it comes to, what else? Sales management, there are certain CRM systems that I'll use that really focus, at least the background that I have when it comes to marketing. My strategy is always consumer behavior. That is a big plus of what I like to keep track of. Granted, as we know in marketing, there's different lines, different parts that cater to marketing. You have PR, you have sales, you have, there's a whole scope of things. The list can go on and on, but I'll bring about another certain CRM that I use is known as KV Core, now known as Bold Trail. I looked into a variety of different ones, and that one was the one that I was able to track consumer behavior at its optimum form so that I can ensure my sales agents, when they're getting certain leads in, they could filter those out to keep the higher interactive or engaged clients first, and then work their way backwards to those that are, a little on the colder side.
Awesome. Okay, very cool. Michael, I'm going to pivot to you. How has AI changed the nature of business for legal professionals?
Okay, that is a great question. So I'm going to start from a general aspect and then go into trickle and how it's affected the legal world. Now, external brain. That is the one word all of you should think of when you think of AI. The reason for that is it is a thinking tool. It is not a tool to replace you. My brother and I often like to refer to it as AI enhanced. Are you AI enhanced or not? If you're not, you are going to fall behind. And you are not going to catch up if you don't already get involved in it. Now, is it too late? No. But it's a matter of getting involved in it already. From a general principle standpoint, that's how you should think of that. Now, going into how it's affected the legal world. Now, I don't want to generalize all attorneys here, but they can be pretty ego, right? They can have an ego and they can have a sort of arrogant aspect of, well, no, you're not going to tell me how to do it. I know how to do it my way. So that's the first barrier to entry for AI in the legal world, just because a lot of these attorneys are like, no, it's not going to replace me. Well, that's not the idea. The idea isn't, like I've said before, of replacing you. It's enhancing what you already do. How do I like to do it? It's my thinking partner. So what do? I like to consider myself a strategist. And what I do is I will run scenarios. Now, a lot of people have heard the joke of we're in a simulation, Elon Musk has even commented about it on X and whatnot. But the idea is you can have it play different roles. You can say, let's play it out. I plan to file a lawsuit based off X causes of action. I want you to be devil's advocate. So you're the attorney representing this defendant. And I give it all the facts and all the information, a context window, right? Because you all have seen the little box where you type it in. Your context window. And I say, now this is what who you are, and your attorney is going to be Harvey Specter. So that way it's like I'm going against like a metal. You all have seen Suits, right? So you're familiar with all that? Okay.
There you go.
Now I say, I plan to run this play. Tell me how you would respond. Okay, and then it tells me. It'll give you a legitimate, well, I would probably do this and this. And then I'd play with it. Okay, well, I would counter like this. Then how would you counter? To the point where all the way through, because I've already mapped it out, I have litigation phased out into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the pleading stage. File the suit. Phase 2 is a big block. I like to use picture it in blocks, right? The first block is a small block. Second block is a bigger block because it's the discovery phase where we're exchanging documents, depositions. I sit you in front of the camera. You're like, And then after that, the biggest block is trial, which I love, right, by the way, right? But trial, because I like to get in front of people and talk.
Go figure.
But I know, right? But I play it all the way through there to the point where I will ask, if you were a juror, what would you think about this? And I'll say, yeah, you need to tone it down a bit. Oh, wow, okay. It can go as far, it can give you that good of feedback, guys. It's just a matter of how much context you give it. Am I having it replace me? Not at all. But I'm anticipating. I'm using it as an adversary.
That's right.
I'm using it because it's got millions of documents, millions of information, of people's testimonies, information that it essentially a repository of information to rely on, that it can sort of predict as if it's in its own simulation, go figure it, on how it's going to play out. So that's how I think it's changed the legal world, because for the individuals that are using it that way, which they should be, that's how it can be beneficial. And it has elevated my game. It really has. I just had a trial back in October. I was going against an attorney that it's his hometown, 20-plus year experience. He's a vet. He's from that area. Judges from that area. These guys would, I'm not going to say anything, but it was clearly I'm in home turf. I got a unanimous verdict. 12, all of them agreed with me. And you best believe I used AI to help me prepare for that. So that's the biggest thing. Don't let ego get in the way. For my fellow attorneys that are going to see this, because we're recording this too. But do not let ego get in the way of being AI enhanced. Just double down and own it. So how has it changed the legal world? That thinking partner. Another way it's changed it is it's eliminated tasks that I guess a legal secretary could take care of for you. Sending simple correspondence, representation letters.
That's right.
Because I've shown staff of mine, employees of ours, where, look, this is how I want you to use it. This is how you can use it. You're still going to get it by me before we send anything out, but little letters that can help you draft it, use it. I will give you the go. I will modify accordingly, but this is what you're going to draft from, and then you bring it to me and I make the modifications. Now, don't go doing it for motions, all right? Now, that's for the attorneys, if you're listening to this. Now, this thing will create, fake cases, so you got to be careful with that. Some attorneys have already gotten in trouble, even disbarred, for doing that in Texas and New York. So you don't go doing that. Like I've said, it's not to replace you, it's to enhance you.
Very, very interesting.
Good job,
Thank
Mike.
you, Michael. Mauricio, I'm going to go back to you, because you were talking
Let's
a little
go.
bit how you use different applications
Yes.
with regards to the customer enhancement, customer experience. What metrics do you personally use to measure the success of those AI implementations?
Okay, so in my position, cash flow is everything. I got to make sure that the business is able to keep their lights on, right? Sales plays a huge part in that. And of course, marketing is basically the strategy. So I always start from basically the foundation of when you're anybody that takes any kind of marketing 101 classes, a very popular book that's part of all and any and all marketing curriculums. It doesn't matter what university you're at. It's known as Principles of Marketing. Now, I forgot the gentleman's name, the author, but basically they'll call him the father of modern marketing, right? And I'll make sure that, because we are going to put this video on our YouTube, I'll make sure that any resources that I go ahead and reference, they're linked in there, and you guys can go back and do a deep dive also. But going back to the foundation, let's say every quarter we'll have a new meet of new products that we need to push out. Products that the company is relying on me to make sure ends up being a successful event of activities, right? So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, let me do a deep dive into some probable new theories right out there. One of them right now that I always go back to. I know Apple used this back on, I think was maybe 2009. I think the gentleman's name was Silic or something of the sort. But it's known as the golden circle theory, right? And initially, you work it backwards. Why is this, or how is this going to be at most value for the client or customers, etc.? And it is customer segmented. So anyways, that's just a simple example. I'm not saying you guys have to use those theories or that certain theory that I'm working. Again, as Mike said, it's basically about being AI enhanced. So these theories are constantly always changing. Now, what I'll do, again, I'll also ask ChatGPT, right? And now, if you're not big on typing, you can also use, it's
speak to it.
Exactly, right? And you can give it whatever persona you want, etc. But I'll say, hey, because you've taken into account all the previous threads that I've already asked you to help me basically put my thoughts together and achieve certain objectives. We got another objective. We're entering a new city. For instance, I haven't told the team yet, but believe it or not, we'll now be entering San Marcos over there for our homes and stuff, which is great. We're expanding, the pride up there for colleges and stuff. I mean, we're going to hit probably some major investors that are looking to also purchase some homes and get some college students or their nice income parents to get for them. So I got to make sure that I come up with. We'll have initially on our end, we have 4 different types of collections, right? Those are the type of products we'll push out. Should I push out our Hacienda product, our Select product, our Estate product, or Executive? Okay, which one falls to certain incomes? What I'll go ahead and do, and the beautiful thing about the MLS and entering new MLSs is it's got all the information on demographics, expected incomes, certain growths, who's in certain areas. I'll go ahead and export that information. I can now import that information on ChatGPT. I can talk about the type of theory that I want to go ahead and push forward now. And guess what? It now provides a whole blueprint on how I can continue to put my thoughts together to go ahead and make sure this whole sequence of events is successful for the team. Now then, take into account these certain metrics. Obviously now lead conversion is very important, right? Cash flow. How much is it actually going to cost me? Because cost is everything. At the end of the day, the company's going to be like, and it's happened a few times. There's been some times where I've spent $10,000 on 1 month based on my marketing strategies. There's been some times where I've spent as little as $2,000, right? Even at most successful state. So whenever I'm hitting that red area, they'll be like, hey, what's going on? And you know what? It's fine. I love getting in trouble. If there's one thing I keep telling the team, I said, hey, get in trouble all the time. I don't care. Well, I mean, granted, still make sure it's ethical. You can hit that gray area. I mean, I don't want to get my brother involved, right? Mike, get me out of this.
I got you.
And you're not going to charge
Activate
me.
me.
But that's initially how I do it. Like I said, cash flows, everything is in this line of work. I got to make sure the company is taken care of.
You got to make sure that the ROI is worth it.
That's exactly right. And I'll give a clear example here on the difference of ROI. Everybody here is possibly always, if you guys are highly involved in real estate, Zillow and Realtor.com are huge. You probably see those ads all the time. I've experimented, and actually I do have an active campaign with them where, I'm on a monthly basis with them. I'll probably spend, and this is out of my own pocket, but I'll probably spend about $3,000 a month there with Zillow. And then I have my own where maybe I'll spend just on ads about no more than $1,500 through the own ads that I've created on Facebook, Instagram, etc. Right? And the conversion rate that I actually have for me and my team based on my own ads is a lot higher than Zillow. Now, Zillow's nice, don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, the only reason I'm a part of Zillow is because, this is going to change now thanks to the whole lawsuit with NAR, right? But you have certain realtors out there that, just focus on solely commission, and if you have the perfect product for them, they're not necessarily going to take that client. That's right. So I was like, you know what? Let me manipulate the market on the Zillow also. Let me pay for my certain area where I know that I have products. And if they're not going to bring those clients to me, well, I'm going to take them from there and bring them to my team myself,
But you're running these schematics off of what the marketing strategy is from ChatGPT.
So yeah, exactly. So initially, luckily enough, I have, and I've earned this, but I've expanded my own education on who I know are good references to look for these theories. But what I'm getting at, even if you don't have that marketing background, right? It's as simple as asking ChatGPT. Another one is Perplexity. Hey, you know what? Who are some market movers in marketing strategies right now? And how can I implement that? Let's say, for instance, you guys know of Alex Hormozi or Gary Vaynerchuk, or those are some popular marketing figures, right? Go off of what are their current ad set. You can look that up, or current theories that they've been pushing out. And if you want to replicate that, ask ChatGPT to go ahead and help you accomplish that. And then again, remember, you just need to know for certain, what is your actual goal. My case, everything that I'm in charge of is strictly sales and also our marketing. So of course, everything's going to go ahead and touch that. But of course, if you want to talk about like management, let's say you hold a position in management for your team, which I'll do some certain things on my end for that too. It all just comes down to what you're actually trying to accomplish. So lead conversion is a huge thing, keeps the lights on, cash flow is healthy, banks are healthy. We get banks constantly contacting us, wanting to look at our numbers, and after they look at our numbers, I'm gonna be honest, when I got the president up there in the banks, he's walking out there with a strut, and he's just acting like he's on the world, and it's look, hey, we've got some more money being offered our way, but it puts me in a happy position, makes me feel confident that I'm doing everything that the company needs, of course.
Awesome.
Really quick, Renee, if I can.
Sure.
Very important for you all to know. There is a notable business professor and businessman. His name is Clayton Christensen. He has a book called The Innovator's Dilemma. I suggest all of you go get that book and read it. It was published in 1997, but it is highly applicable today. The reason why is because we are at another pivot point. You could consider this the equivalent of the Industrial Revolution, right? Now, not to the full extent of labor and whatnot, but I mean in terms of innovation. We are at what's called I'll just label it as, yeah, that's a good way to put it. And becoming AI enhanced is the first aspect of it. I'd like to tie that back into that. To fully understand that, I'd suggest you read that book because it goes into the theory of how you can, what's called, consider this a disruptive technology. And that's the concept that the book covers. And it goes into how we are in the gray area right now. We don't know how much this is going to alter, whether it's labor or just thinking jobs or professions. We don't know what it's going to do, but we know it's heading that way. It's at its inception, guys. It's extremely early right now, and you need to get into it. So Innovator's Dilemma, please go read it. Go buy the book. It's probably like $15 at Barnes & Noble. You can get it online in ebook. But get it, read it, understand the theory, because you're going to see it playing out today. Then you can go and just start implementing strategies. Now, I advise a lot of business clients, and one of the biggest things that I like to have them understand are foundations, right? First off, let's figure out what the question is. You need to answer a question. Whether it's expanding or whether it's capitalizing on the current market. If it's expanding, well, then you go with a blue ocean strategy. Right now, at least. Blue ocean strategy being that we are at a pivot point, like I've just said, And the innovator's dilemma goes into that. We are expanding the market. And the blue ocean, the aspect behind that is you're tapping into an unknown market. And then there's a red ocean strategy, which goes into you're capitalizing on your current market. There's all these theories, right? And there's all these, oh, how's this done? At the end of the day, I like practical because it's what removes you from being an academic versus being a practitioner. And it's like, that's a nice theory, but let me show you how it's done, sort of aspect, right? Yeah. That's the biggest difference. But the only reason why you need to do both is because it's also good for you to understand how the theory can play out in practice. And that way, if someone asks you, what are you doing? You're able to tell them, oh, I'm implementing the blue ocean strategy where I'm going into an unknown market and I'm seeing how the disruptive technology is affecting and it's helping me capitalize on this. We are all in that area right now, guys. I'm telling you that right now. So just capitalize on it. Educate yourself on that.
Awesome. Thank you for that input, Michael. Elizabeth, when it comes to your business clients and assessing what they need through their systems and strategies, I know that you come in and part of what you do is analyze what a current business is using and how you can come in and recommend certain systems, analytics, etc., to enhance their business in a much more proficient way. What is some of the feedback that you've received from your clients regarding these AI-driven services, and how do you ensure that seamless integration between their existing systems and processes?
Yeah, so I always advise my clients that obviously we have to assess, right? Where are you currently? And I usually start, it's funny, but I usually start with branding, because a lot of times we don't even realize who we are, who we serve, and it's so important when you're actually trying to put things into ChatGPT or any other kind of AI tool. So when I start there, you have to know what to input, right? And then we assess who they are, who they serve, all of that. Once that's done, then we'll go into the actual logistics of, okay, what tools are you currently using, what's working, what's not working, right? And then once I assess, then I can recommend different tools, right? And that can be some maybe productivity, or that can be, a CRM, maybe they don't have a sales funnel, it all just depends on what they need. And so then you create that custom recommendation. Sometimes we have people that have been doing something for a long time, but they don't actually have any kind of tool. They kind of still do things by paper or,
That's true.
Not at their time.
Hey.
But, I always say, okay, what is it that you're doing over and over and over? If that's something that you can automate or delegate, then that's what you should do, right? And so, and I know we talk about this all the time, right? It's hard to delegate sometimes.
Yeah.
And AI it always says, there's a little asterisk that says, it may make mistakes, right? But I haven't seen a mistake so far.
Disclaimer.
But yes, so assess, where are they now? And then make sure that whatever I recommend integrates with whatever their flow is. So for that to happen, we need to have a client journey funnel, right? And so what does that mean? It means from beginning touch point to the very end, what are the steps that need to happen? And so then what are the tools that we need to use in each client touch point?
Do you get a lot of pushback from say some of the older from some of us who are stuck in our ways and don't want to change?
Yes, I think that, again, I'm a business coach, but I think life intertwines so much. And so I like to get into the root of why is it that we don't want to change, right? Why is it that it is scary, it is something that, it's your baby, right? And I always say fall in love with your clients more than you love the product, right? But besides that, I think that it's so important to know that your clients as a service by, kind of hoarding and keeping the control, right? And it's baby steps. You can start with, okay, I'm gonna allow AI to do this, or I'm gonna delegate this to somebody else, and it can be something small. And then you create processes and you create systems that will help automate that, and then you'll feel better, and then you go on to the next thing, right? I'm a control freak. want to cover control.
I feel that. Well, to prove that I am trying, we're going to share a little something with you before we move on to the next slide. Good morning, a couple announcements before we get started here. Si tu ne l'as pas déjà fait, notre bar à gaufres DIY se trouve à l'intérieur du café. Notre station de boisson est juste au coin à gauche. Koki, Oranziziu su Societe Ulu Tsuihuyu Zudo Tano Zairua Zembo Yatterio. You no Konito, Nomitai Hitono Tameni Shampa Mario. Jet-Toiletten befinden sich den Flur hinunter, direkt neben dem riesigen Selfie-Spiegel. Vergiss nicht, dein Outfit des Tages zu fotografieren. We'll be starting our program shortly. Thanks again for being here.
I like
so
that.
in case you can't see the little information up here, it says this entire presentation was made using artificial intelligence. From the questions to the graphics and the video, AI was used to curate a very specific experience for everyone in attendance.
Wow.
So I do not know 5 different languages, guys. It's really just Spanish, okay? Also, that's not a script. I didn't read any of that. The first 2 videos before this presentation started were completely created by AI. That was sort of my voice, but not really. And so just to kind of show you what can be done using artificial intelligence.
I want to take you.
I didn't do it, Casey did it.
Awesome, bro.
I want to take you.
After recording her vocals and submitting it into a cloning program, I was able to make the videos probably about 20 minutes or so.
I like that.
Otherwise, we would have had to go through a whole course of different
Well, and so this conversation, and to kind of open up behind the wall, right? You know, draw the curtain back, Wizard of Oz style. The reason that this panel started, the conversation started, is because one of our attorneys, she's not out here, but she can probably still hear me, Miss Melissa Carranza over there in the window. We had a conversation with her regarding the implications of AI in the legal community. And we were talking about what does this look like for businesses across the board. And you know, she was talking about the potential ramifications of using AI to draft, you know, court documents and the falsities that can come from that, as well as, you know, in the marketing world, the gray area of do you have to disclose that this is technically false advertising because you did not necessarily create the content?
Right.
And so it opened up this very unique conversation, and we've been ruminating on this for a while. I went and sat in on a panel that Elizabeth did for Organization of Women Executives regarding ChatGPT. And so this has been a whole year in the making. And so we knew that with this program, we wanted to use AI to its fullest potential. Despite my hesitations with the technology, I'm the first one to tell you that I'm not well versed in AI. I am actually very opposed to using it, I guess. And I like hearing the perspective with it being an enhancement rather than a replacement, because that's the way that I have viewed it. I had viewed it as, you know, I was no longer needed as a copy editor. I was no longer needed to create content. I was no longer needed to do some of the minutiae tasks and details that I was doing. And now that I realized that those things were kind of weighing me down and stressing me out, you know, being able to utilize resources like this is making things a lot more possible. Yes, ma'am.
As an author that I published 30 books and journals, now when you're publishing, it asks you if this is original content. And if it's not original content and you do say that you wrote the book and you did it, you can be banned from Amazon, from like Barnes and Nobles, from all these different publishing platforms, right? But I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said like it's good for tasks, it's good to like organize information, but we still need to like, I guess, give respect to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's law or
The
business.
human aspect.
Yeah, the human aspect of it, because that can get away from us like really fast, like a child, like, you know, when the balloon's going in the air and you're kind of trying to grasp the balloon, right? So I think to stay out of jail, we need to, not you, but I mean in general, right? We have to really keep the authentic part of life still authentic, right?
I love that. Thank you for sharing, Christina.
I want to add to that. You still need to have the creativity to input.
That's correct.
In that
Yeah,
box
that's
that
right.
you're talking about, to say, hey, I needed to do this, and then
That's
yeah,
right.
that prompting box. A couple legal theories for y'all to understand on the implications on all that is our copyright, right? You don't want to be copying someone else's work. And then in terms of that, voice, it's NIL, which is name, image, and likeness. How similar is it to Renee herself? And it sounds just like you, right? So it's like, you know, let's say somebody else came up with that. Renee could be like, hey, you owe me money. You know what I mean? Like, you used my
I'm not out here saying something that I didn't actually okay.
Right. Yeah, and that actually goes into, I don't know if y'all heard about the issue with ChatGPT and, what's her name? Black Widow? Scarlett Johansson. She actually had to do a cease and desist against ChatGPT because they had an audio version of her where you'd communicate with that sounded just like her. It wasn't her, but they had it just like her.
That's right.
Her likeness. That's correct. So, well, in that instance, they took it off right away because it's a multi-billion nonprofit company, right?
So then let me pivot the question to you, Michael, on what recommendations can you give to us to ensure compliance with regulations and standards that are current that are related to AI?
It's really, this is a famous term for attorneys. It depends. It depends what you're using it for. If you're using it to create an image, well, you got a problem there just because it's going to go into its repository. Let's say you're like, create something like Mona Lisa. Well, you know what it's basing it on. So now it's, well, how close is it to Mona Lisa? Is it 100% like Mona Lisa, or is it 10% of Mona Lisa, 50%? It just kind of depends what level it got it from there.
That's right.
Because there is a concept called derivative works. And if it's a derivative work of it, it is still considered copyright. So you have to be careful with that.
It sounds like Gary Vee. If a right copy that sounds like Gary Vee, is that?
Yeah, that could be a risk.
I want to get in trouble. Don't worry.
Well, yeah, because then it's the cost. It's the cost effect of it, right? Everything you do costs something. Are you willing to run that risk where down the line, whether it's a few months or a year from now, yeah, I risked a multi-million-dollar suit, but I got my name out there, and now everybody knows about me. So it's going to pay off way more dividends in the long run.
And to add to this, there is such a risk as playing it too safe also, guys. I mean, that's just business 101. So like, there's a reason why I'll also tell my team and anybody else that's initially under me, just get in trouble. Granted, I'll have ethical trainings with them, like, hey, if you know something's wrong, don't necessarily do that. What is your actual intent for the goal that you're trying to accomplish, right? So, of course, and then this is, business and law, I'm going to be completely honest. When we're at family events together, my brother and I, I'll be talking about something or he'll be talking about something, and let's say he's sharing something with a client that's something there, I'll be like, shit, I would have done that too, fuck. Or if I'm saying, hey, Mike, I'm about to do these, like, no. And I'm just like, yes, like I'm still going to do it. And then he'll bring about all the issues on why I shouldn't. And then my request to him is always, well, help me get out of it. And then of course he'll be like, well, shoot, what do you want me to do? I was like, oh, that's why I got you, man. You got to figure it out, But of course, I'm not going to abuse it. I'm not going to take ownership for work that isn't necessarily mine. I mean, at the end of the day, as mentioned by everybody here, you have to prompt it correctly. There is a lot of things that AI has gathered about the company that I'm in charge of, right? At least when it comes to marketing and sales, that it only knows because it's information that I've given it as well. This is stuff that I've put in years of work. I want to say it's been about, 5 years now since I've been with UR Home Texas. So the creation of the collections, the structure of our scheduling, the true value that I can go ahead and make sure that clients or potential clients get to benefit from us, right? And now, at least for me, the strategies that I'm trying to necessarily push out won't necessarily be copyright material, at least in my opinion.
Right.
What I'm specifically asking is help me put together a blueprint so then I can put my thought process further together, because at the end of the day, I'm still putting my content together. I'm still making sure that I have it in certain placements. And of course, I know that these legal battles are eventually going to continue to come because it is still such a gray area. But yes, I can rely on Mike, and it's just about being AI enhanced, guys. And of course, I'm not going to say everybody needs to be AI enhanced. If you guys get frustrated with it, then shoot, contact one of us, or of course, you being on the line of consulting,
Right.
Elizabeth's definitely a point of contact where, hey, I don't want to necessarily make the time to do this, but can you help me? You know, that's
Right.
that's overall.
And just a really quick point, the easiest way y'all can ask yourself if I'm in a gray area or in a safe area, start with asking yourself, is what I'm doing general knowledge? In other words, it's not like you can protect, well, I know how to put that lid on. You know, there's only really one way to put it, which makes it what? General knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's a little test for y'all without getting too complicated. I highly suggest not representing yourself in any situation. You consult with either a business coach or an attorney, depending on where you're at, right?
We
But
got one question
yeah.
from the audience.
I also publish, and so I want, like, I've written something and I want to edit. So I just copy and paste it and put it into AI and ask it to edit it for me, okay? Is that a copyright issue?
Is it your own work?
Yes, it's my own work, but I'm asking AI to edit it, and when I've done that, sometimes it does change some words, puts the commas where it's supposed to be, and so would that be a copyright issue?
No.
No?
The
It's
only,
your own original content.
correct.
Right, but it does sometimes change.
Well, change the type of word or change the
words,
message?
the words, like
Yeah.
maybe give me a better word or restructure a sentence.
No, that's actually the way to do it. It's like your personal editor.
Okay.
So it's like, maybe I want to say the dog drank the water, but how can I say the dog drank the water without saying the dog drank the water? Yeah. It's like, that is your own editor, right? Because that's what an editor does. The editor helps an author.
It's not changing.
General knowledge.
the idea of what you're trying to
Right.
convey.
All right. We've got time
It makes it
for
sound better.
we've got time for one last question.
Well, I have a question first. What is the program?
11 labs.
What is it called?
11 labs?
11 labs. Okay, last question for the panel. It's going to be applicable to everybody. What is your top of mind, most favorite AI system application? Elizabeth?
It's a tough one.
That's a hard one. I use ChatGPT daily, so obviously it does great things. Earlier somebody mentioned Motion. I do love Motion, especially if you're trying to do a project and you want to incorporate that. You just want to finish it. Sometimes it just feels overwhelming, and then you can have it, set it up to where it's structured and no longer feeling overwhelmed. Now you just know, okay, I got to do this at 6 in the morning every day or every other day. You don't have to think about it. But favorite AI tool? Right now I'm just obsessed with Fathom, that note-taking tool. Fathom AI.
Awesome. Mauricio?
It's a mix. You guys may or may
You
not.
only pick one.
No, I'm gonna pick two because I use them both. But
Get in trouble, you see, guys? I'm going to
yeah,
pick two.
I'm gonna pick two. I'm always getting in trouble. But if you guys do, you may, and most of you probably don't know, most of our audience is from out of state or just out of city. But Mike and I actually have a podcast known as Stogies and Stuff, and we will talk about current events. We make sure that the value is basically breaking down what we say, breaking down the agenda of today's news, right? So the way we'll fact check, we'll basically cross-reference ChatGPT, of course, and then an AI application known as Perplexity. So I'll use Perplexity to fact check my resources. I'll go ahead and look at multiple outlets of news, current events, right? So, for those of you that are CNN lovers, right, I'll look at CNN, nothing wrong with that. Fox as well, questionable. Everything nowadays, in my opinion, there's not a
political.
Yes, I'm not making it political, but everything in my experience now is I don't necessarily trust news outlets the way I used to anymore. And my position is always, let me question the intent of the message that they're trying to portray, right? I'll do my very best to make sure it's an unbiased position, but I'll cross-reference that. And what I mean, use that AI also, guys. You know how I was talking about marketing strategy? I'm going to strongly recommend you use Perplexity. Even though ChatGPT is really, really good, it's going to push out or pull up any sources from news articles to YouTube videos to just blogs, etc. And it's going to allow you to do your in-depth research, your R&D, at a higher level than what I think ChatGPT can do. I'm pretty sure it's probably also powered by ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's got its API.
Exactly, but But the thing is, it's a lot more organized for you. So I would use both of those, and it can be used in any industry, I feel, from real estate, business, consulting, law, etc.
For all the capacities.
That's right.
Awesome. And Michael?
Perplexity. I like to bend rules, but I don't advise breaking them. But if you do, you come talk to me. But just to really quick, Perplexity is powered by GPT. They have an API access key where they license it. So they're legally able to use it without copyright infringement or anything like that. Just to tie it back in, I like to tie everything back in. But that is exactly right. We have a podcast, which I highly suggest all of you follow on YouTube, Stogies and stuff. Pull it up right now, everybody. No, I'm kidding. Okay. But the idea is fact check. Do your due diligence, guys. Don't rely on any news outlet, especially nowadays, to tell you what to think. Don't even rely on us to tell you what to think. I expect all of you to go back and be like, you know what? I want to question what this fine panel was saying. I want to question everything that they said. Is it true? Is it not? How can I incorporate it into what I do?
Well,
and a good starting point is Perplexity.
We encourage everybody to, obviously, everybody's business and industry is varied. And so what might work for Michael in the legal world or Mauricio in sales and marketing may not necessarily be beneficial to your industry, to your business. I know like Dolly's in events, and so maybe she doesn't necessarily need the chat GPT option per se, but she might need Canva's AI integrated option so that she can create, the flyers and things like that, so she can focus more on the hands-on and day-to-day operations of the event space. Versus, let's say Magdalena over here, she has, a creations lab, and so she creates a variety of different marketing tools, and so, from tumblers, etc. So what might be beneficial for, Dolly may not be beneficial for Magdalena, and so everybody should take every resource that's been shared with a grain of salt. Again, play around with them, figure out which is the right resource and tool for you. And that's what Waffle Wednesday is, right? It's a conglomeration of resources so that you can then see which application applies. I mean, that's really why it's called an application. It needs to apply to what it is that you're looking for in your business. But with that, we're going to wrap up our Waffle Wednesday with our panel. Please go ahead and give them a round of applause. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A couple of last final announcements before we break. Number one, you do not have to leave. Your ticket to Waffle Wednesday allows you to utilize the space in its co-working capacity, so please feel free to grab another round of waffles, grab another round of mimosas, coffee, etc. Please continue to network should you choose to do so. Again, your Waffle Wednesday ticket allows you to utilize the co-working space in its full capacity today. If you are unable to stay, please know that you have 90 days to cash in that information, or cash in that access to the co-working space. You have on your, as AI Renee told you earlier, your placemat has a little tearaway on there. If you are not a current society member and would like to join, we are offering a promotional rate for our co-working membership from $149 to $99 a month. All you have to do is fill out that little section there, tear it off, hand it to myself, to Nick, to Jordan, or to Tracy up front, and we'll gladly get you squared away to become an official society member. And what else? Oh, if you need lunch, we've got food trucks down the block if you're hungry for lunch and don't want to do breakfast anymore. And I think that's it. Oh, last one. Yes, last one. Right now, we are pre-selling the tickets for our final Waffle Wednesday of the 2024 season. We always go big or go home with that one, and so it's going to be a mini business conference. So if you haven't been to our last one last year, I highly encourage you to come this year. It's going to be on enhancing the experience so that we can wrap up the 2024 year with a bang. Tickets are on sale specifically for you all in this building right now for $20. So save the date for September 18th. It is a Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And if you scan the QR code, you can purchase your tickets directly from there. If you leave and don't purchase your tickets today, you'll have to wait until they go on sale in August. So
That's it.
One last thing. I'm just gonna, if y'all don't mind, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm gonna pass around a paper. I have a mini newsletter too, where I push out updates, whether it's a thinking tool, whether it's something to think about as a reference or whether it's to push out a video that we've done. All I need is your name and email. You don't have to put anything, but if you're cool with it, pass around the paper. You can put your name and email, and I'll take care of it for the rest from there.
Awesome. Let's give our panel one more round
Thank you,
of
guys.
applause. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, we will be here. I basically live here. I'm not going anywhere, so please feel
Pass
free
it
to
over.
continue